The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. Today's guest and their company are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial.
Okay, so do you mind telling me a little bit about yourself for people who don't know you?
Yeah, I grew up right outside of Lubbock, Texas, in a small town.
Okay.
And so I got all that small town feel, hanging out with friends, the whole football, and, when I got married.
In the 1950s?
In the it was.
Was there a diner in the background?
We did have a diner.
Okay.
It's just, cotton fields everywhere.
Oh, sure.
So that was my life,
Okay.
growing up. Just doing that, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I think it does develop you to be the person you become. At some point. I'm a hunter. I love to hunt because, well, that's what we did growing up. We had 12 acres of land, and we should go out and just shoot stuff, right? And so I appreciate stuff like that. But the small town, I actually like it. I actually like that I grew up in a small town.
Yeah.
Town shut down Friday nights. Like that was the thing when I first got married. I took my wife, who's from Colorado Springs.
Okay.
I was like, hey, we're going to go to watch my alma mater play, and I'd like to just kind of show you what's going on. She's like, yeah, this is great. Well, it was about, an hour and a half before the game. I was like, well, we better get going. She's like, why so early? Right?
Yeah.
She didn't understand Friday Night Football.
Right.
So that was kind of neat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this stuff is, you watch that TV show or the movie, and it's like, there's some real stuff to that. So
Yeah, I think kind of high school kind of days, I remember going to football games. I'm not sure that I ever actually watched a game. Like, it was definitely like the schools that I was mostly going to was like you like do all the socializing.
Yeah.
Like you're like walking around, like you're seeing everybody, and like
Sure.
that was what you did Friday nights.
Yeah.
And so if I wasn't on the field, I was very much like, and I was never on the field. To be extremely clear, that sounded like there was like one random Friday.
Yeah, like there was a chance.
Where like I snuck on. I was like, I'm gonna kick that ball. I didn't. And so it was one of those. Where were you, like, what kind of kid, like, what were you obsessed with? What were you thinking about? You ended up kind of growing into a spot where you had, like, a cool job. But more importantly, you had to develop personality.
yeah.
Like, that's first and foremost of what you do is who you are. So
Yeah.
kind of like a little bit more of, I usually ask people background questions like, hey, like, what's your qualifications for why you should be doing this service or
Yeah.
things like that. But you're kind of your own product. So where'd it start?
I guess as a kid, both my parents have big personalities. You might not see it when you talk to them, but I mean, they're both funny. They really are in their own way. And but I just remember as a kid not being scared to talk to people. I would go up and just shake strangers' hands. My dad told me when I was little he'd have to like pull me away from like strangers because I would just go walk to them and talk to them at stores. And
You had a puppy.
Yeah, well, he said hi. I'm like, what's up?
Yeah.
And so I get, just having that personality from an early age, not being afraid to talk to people. And I've always been a curious person, which I think helps in my career. Doing interviews, I can, ask questions. They may be talking about some event they got going on, but I'm like, well, no, tell me more about this.
Yeah.
So always been a curious person, always had that personality. Never, at an early age, I remember getting a microphone and talking in front of my church and just not being nervous about it. So I don't know. It's one of those things. Maybe you're just kind of built with it. Maybe I was created, when I was born, I guess. I don't know. Because I can't really pinpoint like okay, this is going to be it.
Right.
I just knew I always had, just the ability to talk and not be shy or nervous to step up when I needed to,
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you end up in ministry? I guess would be kind of going from the small town. Was it you moved into a new area? What was it always just kind of growing up in the church? Or what got you into it?
I did grow up in a church. I grew up church life. I was saved at an early age, VBS, that kind of thing. I lived in Ropes for a while, and then we moved off to Pottsboro for about 3 years, my junior high. That's over Lake Texoma, north of Dallas.
Okay.
And connected with some kids who also were raised in the church. And FCA was a big thing in high school, but there was no junior high FCA. And so this guy's like, we need to start an FCA. Like, I think that's a great idea, right? So we get that started and just involved with that. So that was awesome. And then I moved back to Ropes, and Ropes didn't have an FCA in high school. So I started the FCA there. And so it's one of those things that just kind of, again, not thinking, oh, I need to do all these. It was just, oh, this this needs to happen. There's not one, so let's get it going. Nobody else is doing it, I'll do it. So it's just one of those things. So I stayed with that, and I was involved in church, and my youth minister at the time became one of my now dearest friends, but a huge mentor in my life, and just really helping me see things differently, So he was a big deal. So when he left the church my senior year, right at the end of my senior year, we were looking for a youth minister, and I just was like, I'll fill in while we're looking for somebody. Again, one of those things where there was a need, so I was like, oh, nobody else is doing it, so let's just fill that need. I can hang out and with my peers. I mean, these are my friends. These are kids that I know.
How old were you?
I guess it was 18, I guess.
Okay.
Because I think I just graduated or about to graduate when he left.
Okay.
And so I was like, to me, it was just I'll just fill in until we get a new guy. Not a big deal.
Sure.
So that we're not having anything.
Yeah, you didn't know it was a Starship Troopers kind of a thing.
Right, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, that summer, I also go on a mission trip to Mexico. And they needed someone to fill in and give a message. I was like, I'll do it. Yeah. Again, just never like, oh, I have to do this. I must do this. Which I was like, oh, yeah, I can do it. Yeah. And so my first real message came on a mission trip, and then I came back. I was like, maybe this is what I should be doing more of. Yeah. And so that's kind of where the door opened that way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what ended up either closing the door, or what was the next one that kind of got you kind of further into your career or moving on to things like radio and things like that?
Well, when I was at Robes, the guy who they ended up hiring, his name is Jeremy Walker, he first walked in. I'm like, that guy? Like, that's the guy they hired you? They could have hired me. And that guy's been my best friend for the last 26 years. You know what I mean? So God knew what he was doing there. Just connecting with him, and so I stayed in ministry, had some youth minister jobs. And then through that process, I was working part-time at a Christian radio station. Okay. So it all tied together. So I'm still doing youth ministry and Christian radio. Yeah. And then
That's the normal part-time job, by the way, whenever you're a youth minister, is like, oh, well, there just happened to be a radio.
Right, just right over there.
Yeah, I've never one time in my life been like, that's got a cool thing sticking up in the air. I'm going to have to go talk to somebody about how that works. And see if there's some,
To back that up, I did have a family member who was in radio at the time. Okay. And so I would go and hang out with them, and then even did an internship.
Gotcha.
At that radio station. Yeah. So that's how the radio, I guess, really got started. Okay. I guess I left that part out.
It wasn't just like, hey, my
one
car
day I'm like, I'm doing this.
Song. I'm like, I'm going to see where this goes. And find that satellite.
So I hung out with him, and I really liked it. I liked it from, especially when I'm 18, 19 years old, I liked it from there's a little celebrity to this. There's a little, people may know you. Because I'm a little guy, right? So these guys, I'm like, oh, these are awesome. I'll listen to you every morning. The morning show is, local and everything. And then as I was growing, so I did that for several years. Then I got to meet Kid Craddock. Kid Craddock Morning Show passed away a few years ago. Well, I guess it's more than a few now. But I got to have a conversation with him, and he said that in radio, we have a platform that nobody else has. When I turn the mic on, I have no idea how many people are listening in that moment. And I can impact people's lives that way through something that I've said, telling stories, interviewing people. And so use that platform to help people. Because that's what he did. He had the Kids for Kids, Kids thing. Yeah, Kids. But he helped people. He entertained, but he helped people. And that just resonated with me. And so when I was kind of transitioning, wondering if I stay in ministry or go full-time to radio, that's just what stuck in my brain was like, you're still doing a ministry. Yeah. You just get to do it differently. And so that's where that transition started, to keep doing that. Use your platform for good. So. Okay. Now, I haven't always done that, but
sure.
I try.
Yeah. There's some good days.
Yeah.
For sure. So somehow we jump from you just kind of working at a radio station to you had an extremely successful morning show, or the most successful kind of partner show in Abilene. Yeah. How did that come about? What was that like?
A lot of things are coming to my mind as we're doing this interview. Something just seems to, I don't want to say fall in my lap. There is obviously work. People need to do things, like the lucky people, they're lucky, but they've also done things to be lucky. Right. It kind of fell in my lap, So we moved to Abilene which I didn't want to. I was doing radio in Lubbock. I was on the top 40 station, and I just hit #1 for the drive home. And I was on the afternoon shift.
Okay.
And my wife's like, hey, they're shutting our department down here at the hospital. There's an opportunity to move to Abilene. We're not moving to Abilene.
Yeah, I made it.
What are you talking about? I'm from this area, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Texas Tech, you know, family's right there. But that was home. Lubbock was home. And so we moved over here, and I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm not even gonna work. You know, did the manly thing, you know,
Sure.
we're like, I'm not gonna do anything. And that lasted like 2 weeks.
Sure.
And so through my old radio station, they got me connected to this one here. And so I just, you know, jumped on, started doing stuff there. And then Kate Bustos would come in and record commercials. Yeah. And my boss was like, hey, man, have you heard her? Like, have you heard her voice or anything? I was like, no. He's like, well, go record her, see what you think. So I record her, and then we just start chatting.
Yeah.
And there was just an instant chemistry between me and her.
Yeah.
And so through some conversations, I was like, hey, would you be at all interested in doing some radio? And so thank goodness she did, because there was a connection, you know, with especially a morning show, there has to be chemistry there.
Right.
And I talked to a guy who'd been doing radio 30 years and said, hey, tune in, let me know what you're thinking about us. And he hit me back and said, it sounds like y'all been together for years, and we'd only been together 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so again, just it was there. It was there. Because if you don't have the chemistry with that co-host, in my opinion, the show's not going to be successful, because there's going to be frustrations, there's going to be arguments, there's just, you know, but me and her, the chemistry was so good, it's almost like we could read each other's mind and go to it. And that was huge for us. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, it wasn't something I'm like, okay, I got to come over here to Abilene. I got to put this perfect morning show together. We got to hit #1. Like, that wasn't it. It was like, I'm doing radio, have an opportunity to work with somebody, and it just rock and rolled, man.
That's awesome.
It was pretty sweet. It was obviously probably the sweetest radio experience I ever had, outside of maybe you know, interviewing some of the big names or whatever.
Yeah. When I kind of think of opportunities and things falling in laps, it's not anything's falling into your lap. It's very much of like, everyone has opportunities. It's just who has been doing the preparation to take advantage of it.
That's perfect.
And so it's very much of like, you could be the unluckiest person in the world. Mm-hmm. You're going to have some amazing opportunities.
That's true.
If you do the prep work, if you're doing it for the right reasons, when those come along, it's going to be like lightning in a bottle. Mm-hmm. But you gotta wait your turn. I mean, I guess, or wait for them to come to you.
Well, you're right, though. I mean, opportunities do show up.
Yeah.
Some people take advantage, some people don't.
Yeah. I like the Jordan quote or whatever, and it was like, the more that I practice, the luckier I get. It's like that. I mean, it kind of sums it up there.
Yeah.
So how many years were you guys on air together?
3 or 4, something like that. Yeah.
So did you end up feeling any of that celebrity that you were talking about earlier? Where like, I mean, it's hard to get recognized on radio. I would assume.
It is, thanks to social media and different things. You know, you can see our faces, and you know, we try to do a lot of Facebook Live stuff and connect with the listeners that way. Yeah. You know, so I mean, it happened from time to time. Now, I will also be the first to tell you that I don't do this to be a celebrity at all. Okay. I genuinely want to help people. Like if I was a real celebrity, I would be the worst celebrity ever. Right. Because I just want to like hang out and have a good time. Like, I don't ever want to be like, oh no, you know, don't talk to me. No, man, let's go have fun. Let's go whatever, you know. Yeah. But yeah, I remember one time me and Kate and her family, my family, were out at the zoo, and we were just walking down. We're walking down the giraffe thing, and this person stopped us like, hey, Kaden, hey, can I grab a picture? Yeah. So, yeah, that happens. But I can also go to the grocery store and no one talked to me at all. So that's
awesome.
It just depends on who it is, I guess.
You're like, I can't go out after 6. You don't want to be me. I'm wearing the sunglasses because it's bright. So much flash photography. I just can't.
Yeah, I can honestly say I've never thought that. Like, I'm just like, let's just roll. So So there are times, but I mean, it's just fun.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
So in addition to radio, you also did this. You did a podcast.
I did,
for that amount of time. What made you want to get into that area?
Again, curiosity. You know, the podcast was Life as a Christian, and so I wanted to talk to people who had non-ministry, non-Christian jobs, right? Just your regular old job. Right. As a Christian, how do you maneuver through that? Because sometimes it's not easy. And I can say it kind of started with me too, like in radio. Like, my first thought when I left, I remember when I was leaving the the part-time radio is the Christian station to go to the secular station, right? The worldly station.
Okay.
I remember my boss is like, sarcastically saying, well, we'll be praying for you or whatever. I was like, please do, because this is different. I've never done. I went from youth ministry and Christian radio into secular radio. Like, that's a different world.
Yeah.
And it was a harder transition than I thought it'd be, in the sense of continuing like the ministry part of it. A lot of people not saved, in different worlds, so just kind of curious, how do you maneuver through that? And I failed miserably several times, getting in the secular world, and I've allowed my selfishness to take over and do the things, and so it wasn't always perfect. So that it made me curious. Okay, how are other people handling it?
Yeah.
Like, I know I didn't handle it super well, maybe better now than I had in the past, but it started that way. I just wanted to know how people are handling their life.
Yeah. Any good stories or memories from that time, or people that you kind of got in contact with?
Yeah, there was a lot of good stories. I interviewed a lot of people that Fat Matt, he was on the show, and if you've ever heard his story, it's crazy.
Yeah.
From where he came from, Love and Care Ministries. Some of the people that we would know here, just getting more detailed stories of what they said. But it's just interesting to see people I don't want to use the word struggle, but dealing with the same thing that everybody else deals with, and people who have almost lost their job because, you don't think, well, this is Abilene, Texas.
Yeah.
We can talk about Jesus if we want to.
Right.
But no, people saying, I almost lost my job because I prayed with a student.
Gotcha.
I almost lost, you're like, what in the world? So, it was pretty interesting.
It's an interesting framework. I mean, you quite literally have the typical is the vacuum Sunday. Everything's pretty black and white, and then you get out into the real world, and it's like, okay, this is a practice. Like, this is something that like you're always working at and trying to do it the right way. It sounds like that would be kind of a cool one. I need to go look up some old episodes.
yeah, you
awesome.
do. We're about to get it started again, so I'm pretty pumped about that. Yeah.
Oh,
pretty pumped about that. I was very lucky. We had a really good production. I mean, we had the lights, we had the cameras, we had the switchboards. I mean, so when you have something like that, you also have a team. That helps you, which is awesome because as you know,
you're not running it yourself at that
right.
point.
I mean, it can be tough. I mean, when it comes to editing and all that things. Because everybody's good at different things, and I would say that's every career, right? I mean, the reason there's so many positions in organizations is because somebody's good at this, somebody's good at that, somebody's good at this, right? Well, if you're good at interviewing and talking and all that, but you're terrible at editing and you hate it, well, you probably need to get somebody else to do that for you, Right. And so I had that. Well, they all left. Everybody ended up leaving, and so having a full-time job and trying to do that was tough. It was a lot. It was more challenging. I was like, I can do it. I could not do it. And so we shut down, but we're about to pick it back up. And
it's an extra thing.
It is an extra thing.
Like, there's also the consistency aspect of that extra thing. I mean, you can definitely plug along for like 3 months pretty easily. Like, this is the season. We're doing this like crazy. I'm constantly. And then there's I don't want to call and try to arrange timetables and yada yada. I mean, it's just what it is.
It is another thing. And I think when you do interviews like this and like I did, that's a big challenge because, if I'm going to be consistent, if we're going to do this weekly, monthly, whatever it is, well, I got to have somebody.
Right.
When the podcast where they don't interview people and they're just really just talking, like those are helpful because then you could just find your topic and go. You don't have to worry about bringing somebody in.
Yeah.
But then you lose the aspect of hearing from another person.
That sounds like a nightmare to me. And I've said this to every single person. The least good part of this is the part where I do my talkie. There is definitely not like one inkling in my body that's like, I could just be running this show. Let's just. Well, I'm gonna go an hour today and just to this lonely dark room, and I'm just gonna put it out there for the world. People need to hear this. It's very much of like, I think when you have the interpersonal part, it's the only part that actually matters and the part that you're gonna have value.
Right.
In.
Yeah. I get you. People have their niche topics, right? We got people who are really good at X, Y, Z, and if that's what you're targeting, then I think it works. But
I think I just doubt you if you're on your own.
There's no credibility.
You don't have one friend?
No one wanted to.
You're
help
not
you out?
running any ideas through someone else? That's just you, dog?
That's a
All
good
right.
point. That's a good point.
It's kind of like whenever you have like candidates for like political offices, they're like, hey, you need to be married. You need to show that like you can make one person happy.
Right.
Like one person wants to spend time with you.
One relationship didn't get burned. Okay.
Yeah, whenever I'd kind of like it was, they did a study and it was like what made the most popular kids in like high school, college, whatever it was, and the singular thing was that they liked a lot of people. Like that was it. And so like I think when you have someone else there, you're like, oh, I like that person.
Right.
I actually want to spend time with them. It's infectious. When it's just you in a room, like you're gonna start having some crazy rants, and you're gonna be like, people need it.
I agree. No, you're right. You're 100% right. That's a good point. I didn't think about it.
So you kept moving up at the Wolf. You kept moving up kind of in your career in radio. So what were those steps? What was that kind of path? I don't know anything about that career path. Enlighten me, please.
No, you're good. I mean, it's pretty simple, honestly. People leave and you kind of take their spot.
Right.
I mean, that's just the ladder kind of thing. And so that's essentially what happened here. We had a guy that was in my place, and then he ended up stepping down, and so I was able to take over him and just have the programming, and then just through time of being there for a while, then I got the promotion to VP, and so just being there and people being gone and.
What does that look like on a day-to-day, on a week-to-week? What do you do in that role?
All of it, everything. No, just I represent that side of radio. The radio has two sides to it. You got the programming side, and then you have the sales side.
Okay.
They both need each other to operate, and for whatever reason, there's always a friction there. You
went real high on that friction too. You're like, yeah.
It just blows me away.
I am the friction.
I'm the guy.
That's me.
Yeah, I've known radio stations where the sales team was in a completely different building than the programming team.
Oh, really?
Not even together.
Yeah.
They have to work together.
Right.
In order for this to work. So we got the programming side, then we got that side. So anything programming, that's going to be me. So essentially the face for radio, right? The joke, I have that face for radio. But when people think of the Wolf, the goal is that they'll think about everything programming. So what's being played, from music to the imaging to the promotions to all that stuff. So yeah, it's just for me, like today, we got some promotions that we're getting ready to run out. So I got to make sure that those are ready to rock and roll and that we have everything in place so the promotion obviously succeeds. So that would be something like that. But I also do the music. I schedule all the music. So if you like it, that was me. If you don't like it, that was me too.
Me.
Yeah, that was me too. So.
That's a lot of the buck passing. Yeah.
So just try. My job is to make sure people enjoy listening to the radio stations. Okay. So how do I make that happen? And that could be, all kinds of different things. So yeah.
How do you keep getting better at that? Like that, that kind of seems like a role that you'd kind of jump into, but where do you do your CE? Where do you kind of find ways to make the radio more catchy, to make you guys keep growing?
The connection, the little circle of radio people. I'm friends with so many other operations managers and VPs of other organizations, and we just chat, man. Because every market is so different. Abilene is not the Lubbock market. Lubbock is not the Dallas market. Dallas is not the Austin market. So trying to keep it relevant here, but also trying to see what else is going on out there. We're locally owned, which is great, by the way. We're not owned by iHeart or Odyssey, some of these big corporations, Town Square that you may know of. The problem with those is they're corporate level, and when cuts need to happen, jocks, DJs are the first ones to go, right? So being locally owned helps, but then it does hurt because when you have iHeart, every iHeart station is doing something similar, so it's easy for the PD in New York to be in touch with the PD in California, and they can still be doing the same thing across the board. But yeah, to keep it going, just that network of friends, keep what's going on over there? What are y'all seeing? What's going on? Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's fun. I enjoy it. I love that. I love hearing what's going on in these other markets, in these other states. What are y'all doing down in Georgia? I got one of my buddies is down in Athens, Georgia. And so I love picking his brain. Like, what's going on over there? How y'all doing things? And so it's good, yeah.
So how many local stations are I should say, owned locally here in Abilene?
That number I don't know, but there's a few of them. There's a handful of them, yeah.
I didn't know if it's kind of becoming more corporate, if that is kind of like seeping in a little bit more and more, or less kind of in our area, in our market.
I think, 90s, 2000s, that's my guess. This is all speculation on my end. Everything was local, obviously, at one point. And then they got it corporate because, then it becomes a money maker. And if we can do the same thing in these other markets and continue to, generate revenue, let's do that. So corporate got real big, I guess right as I was getting into it. I don't know that it's getting worse or better, but if I'm just guessing, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing less corporate, especially on the programming side, because, all these DJs are getting fired. Well, when you go to a local place, not that you can't get fired there, but you're more likely, now we're a family, right? I know, like, the owner of the stations, I'll just go talk to him, right? So it's not some guy in some other city.
Right.
So I think corporate's always going to be there, but I think we're going to start seeing more localized radio. And I think that's what's going to help radio too, be local. Because that's how it started. Right. I mean, we're right there talking about what's going on here in Abilene in the big country.
Yeah.
People want to know that because we live here.
Yeah. I do wonder how that's changing for you, as kind of a lot of people are kind of shifting more into your Spotify's, your algorithms, you basically say, I like this song, play me more song like this song, and then you just kind of set it and forget it, and you're kind of mindlessly listening to music. I would say a little bit more commonly now.
Yeah.
So what are you kind of seeing in kind of your industry, or how are you making radio stickier and a little bit more, I guess, more human than a lot of people are really listening to it now?
Same thing, just being authentic and giving people a reason to listen to, and one of those reasons is being local, having that local attitude. Because you can listen to music or whatever, which is fine. I mean, I encourage everybody to listen to music. But as long as people are paying for stuff, local radio will still be relevant. Because some people don't want to pay for that stuff. Right. And eventually you're going to have to make, if you're hit a financial crunch, I got to cut something.
Yeah.
What are you going to cut? The electric bill or your Apple Music?
Right.
Right? And so music's always going to be a thing. Music has been around forever. Right, and so it's always going to be a thing. But I think as long as there's still paid subscriptions to things, radio is going to be good, because eventually that's going to stop. I mean, XM and Sirius, they had to merge.
Yeah.
Because we had two satellite, which is great, and I'm not hating on that. Like, if you travel, get satellite radio. That makes sense. Yeah. You can listen to the same station however long you want, right? I'm down with that. Yeah. But they had to merge for a reason.
Yeah.
Because people aren't paying for it.
Right. And it has grown to an exorbitant fee
on
satellite radio.
Has it? I don't even know.
Yeah, no, it's wild compared to like what it was 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
And I don't even know if this is even a great question for you and all, but when I think about streaming, when I think about these when we listen to more radio, we were forced to listen to new music or different music than we would necessarily put on for ourselves.
Right.
I think that's good.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's very much of like, I don't know. I always have the mindset or the thought of like, hey, remember when my parents used to listen to the same song since they were 17 years old?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, everything else is terrible. I want to stave that off. That's one way that I'm trying to be immortal. It's just like forcing myself to like, okay, I'm not gonna like it immediately, but I want to keep my eyes open. And I kind of feel like radio. TV to a certain extent too was also that, where you had a captive market and you said, hey, here are some things that we're going to make you watch that might not necessarily be for you, but it's going to push the envelope a little bit and keep you less siloed. I think that streaming on radio is doing the same thing. Hey, you're siloed to your exact taste, and you're going to become more and more same versus more developed. I don't know.
Right.
What do you kind of think about when you are programming and thinking about the songs that you're putting into blocks that are people listening to? How mindful of that are you, or does that kind of come up to you at all?
Not really. We want to play what's good, and we want to play the artist that's hot.
Yeah.
So for the Wolf or country station, well, Ella Langley, she's hot right now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who Ella Langley is. She dropped that Choosing Texas, put a bunch of Texas country artists and celebrities in her thing. So she's just hot right now. And so if she puts out a song, well, I'm gonna play that.
Yeah.
She's just a hot artist. You take the guys who's in the news, who are people talking about, whose numbers are up in streaming. Like those are the guys that we want to do. If you think about it too much and you're trying to put all the pieces together, you're going to miss it because everybody's taste is different. So if I can just give you a great variety, because talk about algorithms. Well, if you're listening to a country station, it's because you want to listen to country music. You don't expect AC/DC to pop on after George Strait. Like that's just not a thing. So hopefully I've created some sort of algorithm for you as you're listening to the radio, but just based off like who's hot, like who do you want to listen to, and then throw in those old good ones, that you were jamming to before streaming was going on, what's good, what was hot, what did people like, just keep playing that.
Yeah.
It seems to be working.
There you go.
Seems to be working. Well, I do want to say this about radio. The dynamic of having that local feel is what's going to help local radio. And I was kind of saying that earlier, maybe we'll go back to that because the difference between me and you streaming is you're just going to hear your music, which is awesome. I mean, if that's all you're doing, especially if you're just working out, you don't want to hear someone talking. But, if you're at work or you're driving around, I can talk about things locally.
Yeah.
Talk about the Western heritage that's going on, right? I can give you that information. If you didn't, you're not going to get that from your syndicated stuff. You're not going to get that from your satellite radio. You're not going to get. So we can localize everything, and we can talk about people. I can be on there and be like, man, I hung out with my buddy Steve today, right? Hearing your name on the radio, that's still a thing. Like people still like, oh, dang, that's me. I mean, so, but you're not going to get that anywhere else. And so the more localized we can be here, the more people are going to be drawn to that. Because we're always going to listen to music. I mean, music, again, that's always going to be a thing. So how am I being different? Well, just being localized. Talking about the great things. Talking about how great Cypress Street looks, by the way. I parked over there. I just stopped and I looked down.
It's completely
It's gorgeous, right? Well, I can say that.
Right.
XM's not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Apple Music's not going to talk about that. But I can talk about it. We can, and so now we're connected because we have a thing. We're both local and we're both here. And I think that's what's going to help. And today, I think that is what helps. The local morning shows, back to my morning show, when me and Kate were on there, and we were so local, and we did the things, right? We were trying to connect in every emotion. Like when Kate cried on the radio, like those are real tears. Now, we may have talked about it, and I said, hey, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And she's like, all right. So she prepares herself, but it's all real. Yeah. Like we were authentic. It wasn't fake stuff, The funny stuff was real, the hard stuff was real, but the localized stuff, man, it was just about people could know, hey, yeah, I went to the Hendrick Gym and worked out. Oh, I know where that's at. I work out there. Yeah. Or I went to Cypress Street to eat. Yeah, we love that place. Right. So now we're connecting. So that's what the difference is.
So 2 topical Cypress Street questions then for you to immediately feed off of that. How do you feel about them playing music on Cypress Street constantly?
Are they doing that? I don't even know. Yeah. Okay.
So there is an official radio station of downtown Abilene. Okay. And why isn't it not you?
Right. I need to go talk to somebody, and I need to get that going. I like that idea. Again, music is so good. Music, that's one of the reasons I'm in the industry. Right. I mean, ultimately, again, it's to help people, but music is fun. People love music. I mean, I got an 8-year-old, man. She's jamming all the time. She's not a big fan of ballads right now. She'd be like, Dad,
sure.
We need a jam song. Right, right. But no, man, when you're walking down, you got some ambiance going. I love that. I think it's great. It's great. Yeah.
I am a constant music person. Like it's very much like I need something to brush my teeth too. Like I have a problem.
No, it's not a problem. It's music. It's good. Music is good. I really do. And then, I mean, I can't. I'm going to butcher this. So somebody who knows the truth might be like, no, he's wrong. But, I think scientifically there's something to it. When you got those music going. I remember when I was in I don't know, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, studying for a spelling test. So whatever grade that was in, when we did spelling test. Right. And I had the music going. And my dad's like, hey, you need to turn that off while you study. I was like, no, it helps me study. Yeah. Of course, he's like, no, it doesn't. Like, you're distracted. And so, he does the whole dad thing. All right, you can study with that on, but if you don't make 100, never again. Right. And I made 100. Like, I remember that's a story I will never forget, I guess, because it's just stuck out. Yeah, music helped me study. Right. You can connect that. So, yeah, man. And it also, the thing about music that I love, it can take you back somewhere instantly. Yeah. You hear a song, boom, you're back to wherever you heard that song that had the biggest imprint in your life. Yeah. Could be a girl, so, as married guys, that's not good, right? Don't listen to those songs. But this time that we were hanging out here, this time we were doing this, maybe back in college, maybe back in high school, maybe, a month ago, I don't know. And so, to answer your question, if I'm walking out Cypress and I'm hearing these songs, well, now I'm imprinting memories, right? And so when that song comes on, I'm like, Yeah, remember the song we were walking down Cypress and just looking at the gorgeous view we had? So yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
What are you listening to right now? In your personal time when you're not worried about what everyone else is going to hear?
I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I love podcasts. Okay. I love podcasts. I really do. Even if they're by themselves.
Yeah, even if they're by themselves. That's a choice.
I love podcasts. But, honestly, just positive music. I love, we listen to a lot of Christian music. I'd love to, at some point, work at a Christian radio station. I think that'd be good, awesome to do that again. But a lot of positive, it helps with an 8-year-old. She loves listening to that stuff. She don't want to hear anything that's bad. She don't want to hear cussing, Yeah. One time, we just had kind of the music going, or I was just rolling, and a song came on, and a bad word came on. She looked at me like, how could you let me hear this? I'm like, well, I didn't know that song was coming on, right. You know what I mean? But a lot of positive stuff, yeah, man. Yeah. Just any energy. So I know that doesn't really help because it is all genres.
Right.
I listen to, and I do that. I mean, being a music guy, I listen to everything. When I cook, I'm listening to Frank Sinatra. When I'm driving down the road at night, it's probably going to be hip hop. But during the day, it's going to be, something else. So
right.
Yeah, I listen to it all, man. I really do.
What's your I want to feel like I'm 17 again kind of go-to?
Well, this is where I give my age away, and you made the comment about the 1950s earlier.
Sure.
So yeah. So when I say
I wasn't a barbershop quartet,
right?
When I was like playing with that stick and a hoop. We were at the malt shop,
right.
And this one would just come on.
So get ready. Here's the age thing, but like 3 Doors Down.
Oh yeah,
Nickelback, all those guys. That was huge when I was probably, I think, a senior.
Yeah.
So anytime that pops on, I'm like, okay, here we go. Yeah. And then, do you remember that song? It's not a song. It's just it was like the techno song that Sandstorm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we listen to that all the time in athletics, and so anytime that pops on, I'm like, it's still a hype song for me. Gotcha. If we're headed to a tech game, me and my daughter, we throw that on, and with a couple others, and we get hype. Okay. So yeah. But 3 Doors Down and all those guys, that genre.
Yeah, my wife came out one of the mornings when I was like lifting or whatever, and she was like, "So you're just trying to be as millennial as possible right now? You just got like." You got your emos like music blasting in the garage at like 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know we're stereotypes.
Right? Yes.
Yeah,
Seriously. I didn't realize
that's
being
what
judged.
I'm not here for. Okay. I just now have coffee and I'm trying to be awake.
It's me time. What are you doing?
All right. So kind of getting back into like Abilene market. What's working here? What is specific to our market that, like, when you are talking to your friend out in Georgia, when you're talking to people in different kind of markets, what advice do you apply for here? When do you think, that's gonna be pretty successful here in Abilene? Yeah,
the local thing, and I know I keep pushing that, but we see that everywhere.
Sure.
Right? We just did the business luncheon, the small business luncheon, right? We are very, because of, my opinion, this is just me, because of where we're located at here. It's almost we're like on an island here in Texas.
Yeah.
Right? We're not in the DFW. We don't have a hub like Houston or Austin, right? We have ourselves here. And so we are got each other's backs, We're very, Abilene Gives, raised over, $2.2 million. Who does that?
Right.
So I talk about that a lot to the guys. Like, how can we continue to stay localized and be in this community? Not that we can't branch out and do other things, because obviously I talk about stories everywhere, but man, Abilene loves Abilene.
Yeah.
Just like Texas loves Texas, I think, Abilenians love Abilene, and I think that is awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's great that you love where you're at, and we're seeing the growth.
Right.
Now, some of the growth can be a pain, I guess, those mortgages and rents.
There's growing pains.
Right, there you go. That's a good point to put it. But no, man, I just talk about how what's going on here. We do so much here that I don't think people even realize what's going on all the time.
Yeah.
And so just that's what I say. And I know maybe that's a broad answer, but some of these Dallas stations, they don't localize very much, because what's local? Well, if the station is in downtown Dallas, well, they got the whole metroplex. So local to downtown Dallas is not the same as local to Frisco or wherever, Carrollton or whatever. So here we're lucky. We got it here. Because even the outside towns, right? The Clydes and the Bayards and the Merkles, well, they come here.
Right.
So, that's what I say, man. How can we continue to localize this thing so people know that we're here?
Yeah.
So, I love saying Abilene on the radio. Like, I'll voice it. You know, not just in my sweepers and the imaging and stuff, but you know, I like to tell when I'm talking about like, yeah, right here in Abilene, you know.
Yeah.
So people know, 'cause I think people love that.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. We are our own microcosm for sure. Like it's very much of like we're secluded. Like I know that we're like the key city, like we're how you get to a lot of different places. But we got our own thing cooking too.
I agree.
Yeah. And it's becoming more so, I would say, in the last 10 years. So like I've
Absolutely.
really been noticing with a lot of the growth, it's like we're starting to become more of the destination than we were. Oh, I passed through there.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah,
No, I
like,
agree with you. I totally agree with you. And again, seeing just the changes, you know, whether it's a street. I mean, you think about that. We just changed a street.
Right.
And we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because we're small, maybe because we're small, but
Yeah.
because it's awesome.
Yeah.
The zoo, you know, they're expanding, and that's awesome. And so, we're doing that. You know, yes, we do get lots of tourists. I get that. To your point, right? People do drive through, but let's give them a reason to stop here.
Yeah.
And I think we are for sure.
I think we're also growing in ways that we're trying to find reasons to not have to go anywhere else. Like that's how I think of it, and I think what's like going to be the lightning in a bottle for whoever wants to start like a really great business. Like, hey, what are you leaving town for?
Right.
Okay, do that here.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked at because guess what? Everyone else is doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
Like they have through credit card companies, they can tell like whenever they're working on the airport, they're like, hey, where are people driving in to fly out of DFW to go to? And I mean, they can connect to be like, hey, they use their Visa. We know that like they're driving, they're not flying out of Abilene, they're going here and they're going to these destinations. And so like that's how they're going through. Hey, okay, how can we bring that here? So that we're keeping it.
I love that. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, it's
wow.
It's wild. Yeah, no, like you get into anything with marketing, chambers and things like that. Like they have so much more reach than you realize. Of like, I mean, data is its own industry.
Right, no kidding.
And so, it's like very much of like, hey, you tap into any of that and be like, hey, yeah, I think this will just work in Abilene too. It's like, I don't think we need to be bringing in as many like franchises, but it's like, hey, do our version here.
Right, no, I agree with
Be
that.
as specific, be as local as possible. And I think it's working for the people who are doing it well.
Well, and you know, I agree with the franchise thing too. Now, so obviously some are good. I'm pumped about the Bass Pro Shop coming in. You know, and if we could get a Trader Joe's, I think we'd be set. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
But so bring Trader Joe's somebody.
Oh,
or maybe that's me.
I'm
maybe
still pulling for Market Street or Central Market.
Oh, you're right.
I have been pulling for a Central Market or a Whole Foods for I don't know about 2 decades now. Like, I was just like, I need some fancy grapes.
What are we doing? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, why aren't we getting these regular grapes? You know, I only have 4 options at HEB, Market Street, or any of these other producers. So I need like 5 or 6.
Man, I'm with you.
Yeah, I just need juice on ice. Like, I just think like ice underneath my broccoli looks nice.
Yeah.
I want my grocery store to be a maze, and these are feeling too accessible.
Right. Well, you know, we know that a lot of it is a population thing too, right?
100%,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so as we grow, we do see that. So that's awesome.
Business.
The same thing with Lubbock. I remember, I mean, we moved, I guess we've been here talking about the 10 years, because we moved here about 10 years ago, maybe 11, 10 and a half, whatever it is. And just seeing the growth here, but even going back, you're seeing the growth. Well, because the population goes, so they can get more things. And, and that's just the way it works. So as we grow, you know, we are going to see all these things, and hopefully the Whole Foods is on there.
Hey, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We got to write our councilman.
I need to get my fair trade pumpkin seeds. So it seems like the thread that has been kind of pulling all the things together has been faith, Christianity, but also just being open for any opportunities. Yeah. What am I missing, or is that pretty accurate? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate. I mean, you know, faith is a big deal to me. Again, maybe that doesn't always reflect, you know, in some of my actions or the way I am, but you know, hopefully we're trending in a different direction now. But yeah, faith has always been a big deal. But yeah, opportunities, man, you got to take advantage of those opportunities. You know, it knocks on the door, and sometimes when it closes, it's not coming back. Yeah. And if you, I've always been told that I'm a very confident person, right? And I respond to that by saying, no, I'm just kind of dumb. Like, I'm just not smart enough to go, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. But let's do it anyway. It looks fun, you know? Yeah. And I think that's a part of it. I think a lot of people just either don't have a confidence or to take that or see that opportunity and run with it, you know, because things get too big. Well, there's the opportunity, but it's too big for me. Whatever that is, in any industry. That's not just mine, you know? I
think believability.
That's right.
Goes into people's mindsets too. And it's like very much of like when you're saying, oh, well, I think about a lot of the decisions and things that we kind of picture for ourselves are very much based on who we have in our lives when we're young.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, who is doing what jobs?
Right.
And in your head, you're thinking, nope, those were the jobs. Like, that's it. What Hogwarts house am I getting selected into?
Yeah, right.
And I think when people have really great people around them who kind of build like that internal strength of just like, yeah, you have to be too dumb. Like, you have to be too dumb to get this first few spots.
Right.
The amount of people who do incredibly cool things who are just like, oh, I'll figure it out.
Right.
I'll figure it out. Like, if you can just push that down the road for like, I just need to get 2 months into it. And it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, if you can believe that, you can pretty much do whatever you're wanting to do.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
100% agree with you. And I was too old. I mean, I love the journey I'm on. I mean, I'm not taking any of that away, but as I got older, it's like the whole you can do whatever you want. Yeah, when you put yourself in the right spot. Because when you do look at it, you're like, oh, these are my only options. No, they're not.
Right.
How can I move myself into this place to have this as an option?
Yeah.
Right? What's the saying? Tell me your 5 closest friends and I'll tell you who you are. I mean, that's the same thing. Yeah. You know, if we do what our dad and our grandfathers and all that, which nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But if that's the journey you want to do, but if you want to do something different, go be there. I think that's comfort. Comfort is what I think hurts most people in anything, whether it's, you know, religion, your field, your relationship, whatever it is. We did get too comfortable. We don't actually want to go do this. Well, hey, I want to be a movie star. All right, sweet, move to Hollywood. No, I don't want to do that. I just want to be a movie star here in Abilene.
Sure.
Well, we have no production here to do that. I mean, now we can have something in Austin, I guess, which would be cool. You know, having our own Texas thing. But, you know, you got to put yourself in those positions. You know, I want to be a lawyer. We'll go hang out with people in law school, see if that's what you really want to do before you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you know. You got to surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. But we get too comfortable, like, wow, it's a great idea, but I don't really want to do it. It takes effort. I don't want to do effort.
Yeah, I think to make a lot of those changes, you have to change those 5 people.
Right, absolutely.
And that's hard.
It is.
That's probably the hardest part. You're like, I'm going to be in my 40s meeting a new person? Mm-hmm. That's yikes. I'm full up. I mean, I met this for one person who I see every couple months back when I was 19. Yeah. So that's it for me. Yeah.
So you're an introvert is what you're saying.
No, I mean, I just think like... But like that's what like it was for me. Like I took a big kind of jump going into the world of finance after being in education for a long time. Yeah. Everyone who I knew was in education. Mm-hmm. All my friends that's what they did. Right. Breaking out into something else, it really took a lot of getting to know more people. Mm-hmm. And it was very much of like it was pretty rocky in those first few like months where you're trying to figure out like, is 1, this possible? Mm-hmm. 2, can I be good at this? 3, am I gonna like this long term? Right. And it's very much of like I had to keep getting to know people. I had to, you know, kind of surround myself with new people who were in those kinds of spaces, and kind of like, you can. And now I am a full believer of like, you can very much become whatever you're wanting to be. And you're right. It's the preparation on that, and it's definitely the finding people who are really doing it. Yeah. And it's not even like, oh, I want what they have or anything like that. It's very like, hey, what's going to be my version of it? Right. But what does it really look like in today's world? Mm-hmm. And there's just really so much we don't know. So it's like when I think of like advice from like, you know, the fathers, the grandfathers, whatever, you're looking at people's lives and decisions that they made in the world that they were in at the time that they were in with the opportunities that they had. Right. It's so specific that you kind of have to get out there and find new ones and kind of be thinking, okay, what would be my opportunities? Right. What are my skills?
Yeah, and things? Married people have already dealt with some of this. You know, because when you get married, you get these 2 families coming together, right? Yeah. And then you're arguing about whether we should put a star or an angel on the tree. Right. Right? Because we've come from 2 different dynamics.
Or if ketchup goes in the fridge or in the cabinet.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Right.
It can be as mundane as possible.
Yeah. But you work through that, right? Yeah. You figure that out. And so that's the same thing, whether it's a field, whether it's a whatever. But I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think we just get too comfortable and lazy, and I hate to use those words because those are strong words, but it's true. I mean, I would love to be, you know, the governor of Texas. Great. What senator are you working with or interning with? I'm not. Okay, right.
I'm not sure you're gonna get that far.
Right. Yeah. You might have a little challenge there, you know, or are you going to law school? You know, a lot of lawyers get into it. Yeah. You know, but you know, are you taking those right steps? We can't just wish things to happen. Because even to the point when I said earlier, and I had this conversation with my wife the other day, I always felt like stuff always fell in my lap. It didn't fall in my lap. I had to go and initiate something, and then it happened, right? Luckily, I didn't always view it that way again, because I'm just not always smart enough to go, oh yeah, there was some effort there. But no, I mean, whatever it is. So the same with radio, like, go, if I want to be in radio, well, go to the radio. Yeah. Go find people who are in radio. Go do that, Yeah. People ask me, I was like, how do you get in radio? Same way you get in any career. Right. You can go to school for it. You can know somebody. You can, just get after it. Just go find it and be there.
Yeah. That's cool,
man.
Yeah. What things are you excited about right now? Just kind of like last kind of drawn out questions, something that's coming up, something that you've been thinking about.
I'm excited about summer coming. I'm a summer guy.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Okay.
'Cause I love summer. Now, there's some opportunities coming up real soon for me that I'm pretty excited about. Can't go into too much specifics right now, but there's some stuff that I feel like God's opened some doors for us, and we get to walk through that, and I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about this next chapter that's coming up really soon, not just with me, but just with my family in general. We've had some family goals that we're trying to accomplish, and it looks like those are coming to fruition, and it's just really cool, man. It's really cool when, again, when faith's involved, when you feel like God's providing for you, it's really cool to see that. It's really cool to say, hey, we set this goal, and now we're actually seeing it happen. I mean, so that's where we're at right now. We're seeing some of the fruit that's being produced from the work that we've done, in the past. So I'm excited, man. I really am. Upcoming few months is going to be really nice for the Kimberlin home.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Anything that you're working on? It could be personally, professionally, something that has your focus right now.
Getting the podcast going again.
Yeah.
I'm pretty pumped about that. That's going to be awesome. I'm working with my men's ministry at church. That's been really fun to do that. So those are really the only kind of projects I have going on right now. And then just getting ready for vacation, baby.
Cool. And where can people get in touch with you, connect with you, follow you?
I'm all over social media. Kaden on air. Which is kind of a fun one, I thought,
Solid handle.
Yeah. Instagram, X, Facebook, and I'm that weird guy who actually, I love X. I'm on X all the time. Oh yeah, it's my newspaper, man. Like I follow the news, the weather, the sports, so it's the modern day newspaper for me. So Kaden on air, Kaden with a K.
Okay, perfect, man. Well, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I think we did it.
Sweet, thanks.
Awesome.